Hey, Bill, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So today, Bill and I have been chatting about rural areas. I've been doing these Instagram reels every day now for the past month and trying to just talk about topics that are a little outside of the normal. Not the fact that, Phoenix is the number one Googled city right now for relocation people. And I'm fairly confident that has a lot to do with 18 inches of snow on the East Coast.
And
I'm
no
not sure if
power.
I'm influencing any of these discussions and these searches. I'm just saying I'm doing my best to get people to move to Arizona. So
It's
it has
tough
nothing
to
to do with our
it's
amazing
tough to
tech and
shovel the
healthcare.
sunshine.
Yes,
So
you know, people just move here for the sunshine. It has nothing to do with our amazing tech and healthcare and affordability to larger cities, no matter what. That's just a whole other thing. But yes, Phoenix being the number one city is the number one city being Googled right now by people for relocation. Just saying. I keep telling my family winter's optional. Doesn't have to be this way. So, but in this discussion, we started talking about, more rural places because shows like Yellowstone and one like, these more westerny themed things that have prompted people to want to move to more land and have more available space. I think this is also kind of stems a little bit from COVID where people felt this distance to spread out. So, like, you kind of pile those things on top of each other. And I think we've seen this influx of, and I'm not saying it's a giant rush like, the gold rush days, but it's definitely a movement towards. Do you see that too?
well, yeah, I mean, I have friends that are looking outside the state potentially to get that land, right? People just want more space,
Yes.
and with the day and age of technology, you don't have to do that daily commute, right, of an hour or how far it is. So you can almost live anywhere with most jobs, right?
Yes.
Um, so it just gives people that flexibility. They're tired of being on. A lot of people are tired of being on top of each other. Some people hate the daily hustle and bustle of the bigger cities, like LA or San Francisco, right? I have a bunch of friends still back home in San Francisco that are just done with that hustle, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
they just want that peaceful land. And yes, the shows of Yellowstone and all that, like that definitely entices people for these outlying areas for sure.
Well, I think also people also have more toys, right? They have their RVs, they have their haulers, they have their jet skis, they have their ATVs, UTVs. What do they call them now? UTVs, I think. So there's
Yes.
the smaller yards, the HOAs that may not be as appealing to the folks who are looking at being able to store all these things without having to pay for storage as well.
Hmm.
But those things are going up in costs too, like these outdoor storage places or these, where you can put your RV, you can put your boat, where, you could just buy a piece of property and feasibly not really far out of town. Like you have a map up here. This is for
Yeah.
USDA loans. Share a little bit about what a USDA loan is.
So USDA loans are kind of what they say in the name. They're government backed loan. They are, allow you to do as low as zero down on the loan, but the USDA makes this map, right? And it kind of blankets main areas. For a while there, it used to stop about right here in Santan was USDA about 8, 9 years ago. Now they've got a
Those
blanket
days.
on Santan Valley, but it's for that rural area. It was initially created for farmers, this loan product, to be able to, allow people to move out with zero down or, with a little bit better pricing sometimes. Now you can
Mhm.
look here, Florence, pretty wide open, pretty much
So
all
Florence
US.
really, to get into where the blanketed areas are, the major, Florence is only about an hour from my house,
Yeah,
and
it's not too far. You'll get more land. You look, I mean, obviously, mostly of this Maricopa County is blanketed, right?
well, yeah, that makes sense
But
because less than.
yeah, I don't know that that's not the
Now, it
name of
doesn't
the
have to necessarily
product.
do with land, right? It's more about just rural property because it doesn't have to
Mhm.
be an acre. There's no land size, right? There's no.
No,
Okay,
you could
so it
buy.
could just be any property somewhere more rural, but land size doesn't matter. But a lot of people are looking at these land pieces,
No, you could buy a standard single family home in Florence.
right?
If you were to go to Florence, there's a lot more houses than lands now because it's really being developed more. But you go out there and yeah, you can just buy a standard single family home out there and get the potential way of putting zero down, right? Now,
Hmm.
now USDA does have certain qualifications when it comes to debt to income. They're a little tight, what we call tighter on debt to income. They don't allow us to push the debt to income because once again, you are putting nothing down. And there's the potential if it appraises to roll closing costs into it. There's that side of things also. So,
All right,
you
that
know,
looks like 102% finance or something like that. Is that
something like that. It
okay?
just depends where the appraisal says.
Okay. Can
If
you
it
scroll
has
up
that
to
little,
Sholo? What is Sholo? Does Sholo in the USDA area? Just curious.
let's see here, where are we at?
Oh yeah, it would be. It looks like Snowflake. Go south. There we go.
There we go. There we go.
Okay,
Yeah, they got a blanket on them.
they do.
Or
That's the
no.
forest. There's no blanket.
No, you're good. Yep.
Okay,
You
so
got
people could buy up there
Cholo.
because
Yeah.
if maybe someone wants the Four Seasons and isn't super like loving the desert, they could have the Four Seasons, and Sholo is a great place for that because they got a little drifty of snow to this past weekend, and you know,
There is a little bit of snow in my front yard. It's melting quickly.
yeah, no, I know. I
But
looked at my cameras; it's pretty much gone already. But it was, I'm
yeah,
sure for the people who live up there, it was quite lovely to see that little thing of what put
exactly.
down.
I
And
mean, and it's like you said, it's not necessarily amount of land, it's just location. Like Prescott Valley, they put that blanket, but if you go to Humboldt, Mayor, Chino Valley, all USDA available there.
yeah, so there's opportunities for people to live in the Phoenix metro area, in freaking Eloy, as our friend Liz O'Neill loves to say, because it's it's kind of that halfway point between not halfway exactly, but between Phoenix and Tucson and sort of in the middle of nowhere. But there's opportunities for people who want to save on costs, affordable housing, lower taxes, no HOAs. You can kind of build what you want. You can create the space you want. Apache Junction is very up and coming right now. It's a super hot space in Arizona. There's opportunities to get in while you still can. I mean, because once you have a USDA loan, they can't take it away from you, correct? Like you can't think, oh, well, all of a sudden this is no longer USDA. So
No, it's when you originated. Now, if later on you're going to refinance it or something like that, you might not have that product available to you. Go
right.
conventional or something like that at that point, or FHA. Yeah, it's they don't call it due just because they put a blanket over it, is what I say.
Perfect.
So
All right,
yeah,
cool. Well, see,
it,
I think there's lots of opportunity for people who want to live in open spaces, create their own space, or there's a property on, there can be, of course, a property on that land that you can move into, or you can renovate as well. Okay, weird
Mhm.
question. Does USDA have a renovation piece at all? If you found a property and wanted to renovate it?
Not that I'm aware of.
I didn't think so,
US,
but I thought I'd ask.
I mean, but a lot of the renovation loans, the conventional is usually the main product, or FHA, depending on that loan amount.
Okay.
Um, yeah, not, I'm not a, I mean, they might. I just don't want to
I've
say.
never seen one, but we'll
Yeah,
check it
I
out.
think I think the big thing with USDA is the whole point of it is to move people out of congested areas and
Right.
give farmers an opportunity to build their farm that they've wanted, right? That's the whole USDA kind of meaning, just like with VA, it's all for the veterans, right?
Right.
So like these different government products, there's a goal, there's a main goal in mind.
That makes sense. But you don't have to, it's not required to farm.
No, it's not
No one's
required to
checking
farm,
on
but
it.
that
So
I'm just saying that's the
yes, that was the initial.
that was the initial,
Right.
you
That
know,
makes sense.
yeah, Department of Agriculture's goal. Oh,
So if you're the type of person who is really interested in learning more about, we're seeing this too, sustainability and, living off the land and how people can grow their own food, do that more of that lifestyle. We're seeing that come up a lot. This is an opportunity. Or if you're that
mm,
person who wants to build your dream house somewhere, you don't really want it to be exactly in the middle of the town, but you kind of like it close to resources. There's lots of options and there's lots of ability. You don't have to use the USDA loan, of course, but there is land available. Some are very well priced. You can get some good acreage. Just have to pay attention to things like drainage, pitch, like landscaping, how to build on properties. Like
mhm.
washes are really important in Arizona. So if you buy a property with a significant wash through it, you may have to accommodate that wash. There's lots of different things that have to happen when you buy a piece of property. So you just can't buy any piece of land and think you can do whatever you want with it. How far is electric to it? Is there a sewer already in there? Septic? There's
Elevation.
it's important. There's so many things you have to think of. Hard dig, not a hard dig. Like there's a lot of pieces that come up. So it's not just as simple as, well, I'll just go buy this piece of property. there may be more involved. So Bill and I can always help talk you through that and what that looks like, and if the piece of property you're looking at makes the most sense for what you want to do. But I just like this topic because I've seen more of this shift, and I've seen more people who want to look at this as an option.
Yes, 100%. There's always options out there. So
I
don't
know.
don't think that there's not. I think you just talk to the professionals, right? The
Right.
Christies, the me of the world in order to give you those options.
And not just
Um,
here, because we can show you all over the state. And
mhm,
if and maybe if, like you said, if Arizona isn't your place anymore, or you aren't here and you're just watching us from somewhere else, like we've always said, we have connections everywhere.
mhm.
If you want to live in the middle of Montana, I know someone who can help you with that.
Yeah, we had the connections. I mean, shoot, I had multiple state licenses: Oregon, California, Colorado, Texas, Georgia. There's just so many options. And if I don't have that license, I good chance I have a friend or someone I really know that I trust that has
Mhm.
that license.
Yep. So if you're thinking of it, give us the call. Let's help you figure out what your next steps are, because that could be a fun, huge lifestyle change, or your retirement plan, or you're gonna homestead or something cool. I could never do that. I'd be like, we were talking about this. If the apocalypse happened, I'd be so screwed. Who's gonna hunt that first? I kill all the plants in my house. I don't know how to hunt. I can maybe fish, but like, my goldfish once committed suicide. It literally jumped out of the bowl. So I don't know. I think I'm doomed, but it's fine.
You got
All
Eddie.
good. All right. Well, thanks, Bill. I appreciate your time being here
No
again
problem.
today.
Thank you. We'll
All
talk to
right.
you
Talk
next
to you
week.
soon.